From a Buddhist perspective, dealing with toxic people is one of life's greatest challenges, yet it's also an incredible opportunity for personal growth, cultivating compassion, and maintaining inner peace. Imagine facing negativity, hostility, or bitterness, and transforming it into something beautiful within you. Buddhism places profound importance on the purity of our mind and spirit. How do we protect our inner peace in the face of toxicity? Let us embark on this journey and explore how we can confront toxic individuals while preserving our tranquility and well-being. It's not just about surviving these encounters, it's about thriving through them. Ready to rise above toxicity like a lotus in muddy waters? Hit that subscribe button and let's grow together. How to deal with toxic people. Welcome to another episode of our Guide Q&A program. Today, we will explore how to deal with toxic people, a topic that affects us all. Toxic individuals can be found everywhere, in our family, neighborhood, or even among our friends. We need a way to handle these situations without getting hurt or hurting others. Let's dive in. A story of Buddha and a toxic person. First, let me share a wonderful story about how Buddha dealt with a toxic person. One day, a man came to Buddha and started yelling, insulting, and cursing him. How did Buddha respond? He simply smiled. He did not react or become upset. Instead, he looked at the man with kindness and a positive expression. Eventually, the man ran out of things to say and stopped yelling. Then, Buddha asked him a simple but profound question: do you get visitors at your home? The man, taken aback, replied, yes, I get many visitors. Buddha then asked, do you treat them with food and drinks? The man answered, yes, of course. Buddha continued, what happens if they don't accept what you offer? Who does the food belong to then? The man replied, if they don't accept it, it belongs to me, and I will consume it. Buddha smiled and said, likewise, you have treated me with anger and harsh words, but I do not accept them. They belong to you. Hearing this, the man was amazed, and his anger melted away. Buddha then shared his teachings with him, and the man eventually became a follower. This story shows how Buddha dealt with toxicity with grace and wisdom. Understanding the nature of suffering. Have you ever wondered why people behave in toxic ways? What kind of suffering lies behind their actions? Buddhism teaches that all beings experience suffering, and often, the root of toxic behavior is pain, ignorance, or a lack of understanding. Those who exhibit toxic traits are frequently struggling with their own deep-seated issues, and their behavior is a manifestation of their suffering. Recognizing this truth doesn't mean we should accept or condone harmful behavior, but it does help us understand that such actions are born out of their inner turmoil. How would it feel to approach these individuals with empathy instead of anger? When we see that their negativity stems from their suffering, we can soften our response. The Buddha taught about the inevitability of suffering, known as dukkha. Toxic individuals are, like all of us, grappling with the challenges of life, perhaps overwhelmed by anger, jealousy, or fear. This understanding allows us to approach them with empathy, not hatred, and to remind ourselves that we all share the human condition of suffering. Understanding the nature of suffering also means acknowledging that we, too, have experienced pain and negativity. We may have acted in ways that hurt others when we were struggling. This recognition fosters a sense of interconnectedness, a reminder that, at our core, we all want to be happy and free from suffering. By seeing toxic behavior as an expression of suffering, we begin to dismantle the barriers that separate us and cultivate a more compassionate outlook. Practicing compassion without attachment. When faced with toxic behavior, our immediate reaction may be one of anger or frustration. Have you ever felt your heart harden in response to someone's cruelty? Buddhism encourages us to practice karuna, compassion, towards all living beings, including those who may harm us. True compassion means approaching such situations with a non-judgmental heart. This doesn't mean allowing harmful behavior to continue or being a passive victim. Rather, it's about staying calm and understanding, even as we set boundaries. Imagine someone yelling at you. In that moment, instead of yelling back or feeling crushed, what if you could pause and think, this person is suffering deeply within themselves, and this suffering is spilling over. Thich Nhat Hanh said, when another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself. We all deserve kindness, including ourselves, and responding with compassion doesn't mean excusing bad behavior but ensuring we don't let it poison our hearts. Practicing compassion without attachment also means recognizing our own limits. Compassion is not synonymous with enabling harmful behavior. We can extend love and understanding while also protecting ourselves. This delicate balance is crucial in maintaining our well-being while also practicing compassion. It is possible to wish for someone's healing while acknowledging that their actions are not acceptable. Compassion without attachment is also about releasing the need for a specific outcome. When we offer compassion, we do so without expecting anything in return. We let go of the desire to change the other person or to receive gratitude. Our compassion becomes a gift, freely given, and this freedom allows us to approach even the most difficult situations with a sense of ease and grace. Imagine the freedom of giving without expectation, of loving without the need to control. This is the essence of compassion without attachment. Mindfulness and letting go. Mindfulness, sati in Pali, is one of the most powerful tools we have when dealing with toxic people. When someone behaves toxically towards us, it's easy to let our emotions carry us away. Have you ever felt an emotional wave of anger or resentment pull you under? Practicing mindfulness allows us to observe these emotions without letting them overwhelm us. It's like standing in a storm without being swept away by the wind. Mindfulness is about being fully present in the moment and aware of our thoughts and emotions without getting lost in them. When faced with toxic behavior, we can use mindfulness to observe our reactions, to notice the anger, the hurt, the desire to lash out, without letting these emotions control us. This awareness gives us the space to choose our response, rather than reacting impulsively. Buddhism emphasizes letting go, upekkha, which means releasing attachment to negative emotions, like resentment or bitterness. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring difficult situations, but choosing not to let them disturb our inner peace. What would life be like if we let go of the negativity others try to give us? Imagine the freedom of not allowing toxic energy to drain us. We can find strength in letting go, and this release helps us preserve our precious inner harmony. Letting go is a practice that requires patience and persistence. It's not always easy to release the anger or hurt that toxic people can cause. Sometimes, these emotions cling to us, refusing to leave. But each time we notice these feelings and make the choice to let go, we are reclaiming our power. We are choosing peace over pain. The practice of letting go is a gradual process, but each small step brings us closer to inner freedom. Mindfulness is not just about observing our emotions, it's also about understanding the impermanent nature of these emotions. When anger or resentment arises, mindfulness helps us see that these feelings are not permanent. They are like passing clouds in the sky. We don't need to hold on to them or identify with them. By practicing mindfulness, we can experience the ebb and flow of our emotions without being swept away by them. Reacting versus responding. If we were in Buddha's place, how would we react? Typically, when people yell at us, we might yell back or try to prove them wrong. Buddha taught us that if we respond to anger with more anger, it's like sharing in their negativity. When faced with toxic people, the first step is to maintain a positive smile. Showing anger or sadness only gives them what they want, to see us hurt. Stay calm and positive. When someone is angry, they are often mentally weak at that moment. Mentally weak people express anger easily because they lack strength of mind. To be the bigger person, you need to remain positive and motivated by virtues and morals. Don't argue back, listen carefully to what they say, but don't react impulsively. If they accuse you of something, think about whether there's any truth to their words. If they're right, correct your mistake, but don't let anger or sadness show. Practice loving kindness. Loving yourself means refusing to make yourself angry. If you love others, you will also refrain from hurting them with harsh words. Practice compassion, kindness, and care. These qualities can bring peace to challenging situations. Visualize success. A great way to prepare for dealing with toxic people is visualization. Imagine how you would handle such a situation. Visualize yourself smiling, staying calm, and handling everything successfully. This practice will help you respond better when faced with real-life conflicts. Establishing healthy boundaries with compassion. Setting boundaries is essential, yet it's often misunderstood. Buddhism teaches us to do this with metta, loving kindness. Establishing boundaries doesn't mean rejecting or hating someone, it means practicing self-care. It's about protecting our peace without resentment. Have you ever set a boundary and felt guilty afterward? What if, instead, you could view it as an act of love towards yourself? Boundaries allow us to protect our well-being while still wishing others the best. They are an expression of loving kindness, both towards the other person and towards ourselves. We can still wish someone happiness and peace, even if we need to keep our distance to maintain our own mental health. Establishing boundaries is an act of courage. It requires us to honor our own needs, even when others may not understand or accept them. It's not always easy to say no, or to step back from a relationship that is causing us harm. But by setting boundaries, we are affirming our own worth. We are saying that our peace, our happiness, and our well-being matter. And this is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of self-respect and love. Boundaries are also a way of communicating clearly and honestly. When we set a boundary, we are letting others know what we need in order to feel safe and respected. This kind of communication can be challenging, especially when the other person is not receptive. But even if our boundaries are not respected, the act of setting them is a powerful affirmation of our own worth. It is a way of saying, I deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. Healthy boundaries are flexible and compassionate. They are not rigid walls that keep others out but rather gentle guidelines that help us maintain our well-being. We can adjust our boundaries as needed, based on the situation and the people involved. This flexibility allows us to respond to each situation with wisdom and compassion, rather than reacting out of fear or anger. Practicing metta, loving kindness, meditation. One of the most transformative ways to deal with toxic people is through metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation. Have you ever felt the warmth of compassion grow in your heart, even towards those who hurt you? Metta meditation involves cultivating love for oneself and extending it to others, including those who have wronged us. This practice may seem challenging, especially when someone has hurt us deeply. But imagine the freedom of releasing that anger and replacing it with understanding. When we silently wish for toxic individuals to be happy, healthy, and free from suffering, we are not excusing their actions, we are liberating ourselves from the burden of anger and resentment. Metta meditation begins with ourselves. We start by wishing ourselves happiness, health, and freedom from suffering. This is a crucial step, as we cannot extend genuine love to others if we do not first love ourselves. From there, we gradually extend these wishes to others, first to those we love, then to acquaintances, and finally to those who have caused us pain. It may feel unnatural at first to wish happiness for someone who has hurt us. But over time, as we continue to practice, we may find that the anger and resentment we hold begin to soften. We may begin to see the humanity in those who have wronged us, to understand that they, too, are suffering. This doesn't mean that we accept or condone their behavior, but it allows us to release the heavy burden of hatred and replace it with a sense of peace. Metta meditation is a powerful tool for transforming our hearts. It helps us to cultivate a sense of connection with all beings, recognizing that we all share the desire to be happy and free from suffering. By practicing metta, we begin to see the interconnectedness of all life. We understand that our well-being is intimately connected to the well-being of others. This understanding can help us to approach even the most difficult people with a sense of compassion and love. Embracing impermanence, anicca. Everything changes, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Buddhism teaches us about anicca, the impermanence of all things. The behavior of toxic people, and the pain they cause, is not permanent. When we deeply understand this, we become more resilient. Have you ever felt like the negativity in your life would last forever? Isn't it comforting to know that everything, even the darkest moments, is temporary? Realizing that everything is impermanent helps us not to be overwhelmed. We can endure knowing that this, too, shall pass. It's like weathering a storm with the certainty that the sun will shine again. Impermanence is a fundamental truth of existence. Everything is in a constant state of flux, our emotions, our relationships, our circumstances. When we are caught in the midst of a difficult situation, it can feel as though the pain will never end. But by remembering the truth of impermanence, we can find hope. We can take comfort in knowing that the pain we feel is not eternal. Just as joy and happiness are fleeting, so too are sorrow and suffering. Embracing impermanence also helps us to appreciate the present moment. When we understand that everything is temporary, we are more likely to cherish the moments of peace and joy that we experience. We are reminded to be grateful for the good in our lives, knowing that it, too, is not permanent. This understanding allows us to hold both the joys and the sorrows of life with a gentle heart, knowing that all things, both good and bad, will eventually pass. Impermanence also teaches us not to hold on too tightly to anything or anyone. When we cling to something, whether it is a person, an emotion, or a situation, we create suffering for ourselves. By embracing the truth of impermanence, we learn to let go of our attachments. We learn to love without clinging, to experience joy without grasping, and to face pain without resistance. This freedom allows us to live more fully, to be present in each moment without fear of losing it. Non-self, anatta, and letting go of ego. The concept of anatta, non-self, helps us deal with our own ego when facing toxicity. Often, our ego feels attacked, and we take things personally. But what if we could see beyond the illusion of a fixed self? Toxic behavior doesn't define us. Can we step back and see the situation without our ego getting in the way? When someone treats us poorly, it often hurts our pride. But by letting go of our attachment to the ego, we can respond with more clarity and less reactivity. This is a liberating experience, to realize that their actions don't define us, and our response can be one of wisdom rather than anger. The ego is a powerful force. It wants to protect us, to assert our worth, to defend our honor. But often, the ego's desire to protect us leads to greater suffering. When we take things personally, we become entangled in the drama of others' actions. We feel the need to prove ourselves, to retaliate, to defend. But what if we could let go of this need? What if we could see that the actions of others are not a reflection of our worth? By letting go of the ego, we free ourselves from the need to prove anything. We can observe the situation with detachment, responding with wisdom rather than reacting with anger. This doesn't mean that we become passive or allow ourselves to be mistreated. It means that we act from a place of inner strength and clarity, rather than from a place of wounded pride. Understanding anatta also helps us to see that our identity is not fixed. We are not defined by our past actions, our mistakes, or the labels others place on us. We are constantly changing, growing, and evolving. This understanding allows us to let go of the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. We are not defined by the toxic behavior of others, nor are we defined by our reactions to them. We are more than our ego, more than our pain, more than our fears. Developing wisdom, prajna, and discernment. Prajna, wisdom, is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, especially in dealing with difficult people. Wisdom involves seeing things as they are and understanding when to engage and when to step back. Isn't it powerful to be able to see beyond the surface of someone's behavior and understand their motivations? Wisdom helps us discern whether a situation requires compassionate engagement or a compassionate exit. For instance, wisdom may guide us to recognize when someone's behavior is beyond our ability to influence and that it's time to let go. It also helps us see when there's an opportunity for compassion that could make a difference. Wisdom guides us to act in ways that support our own well-being and that of others. Wisdom is not about being detached or indifferent. It's about seeing clearly, seeing the truth of the situation without being clouded by our own biases or emotions. Wisdom allows us to understand the root causes of someone's behavior, to see their suffering, and to respond appropriately. Sometimes, this means offering a helping hand. Other times, it means stepping back and allowing them the space to learn their own lessons. Developing wisdom requires patience, reflection, and a willingness to learn from our experiences. Each encounter with a toxic individual is an opportunity to cultivate greater understanding. We may not always get it right, sometimes we may react out of anger or fear. But each time we reflect on our actions and learn from them, we are developing wisdom. We are learning how to navigate the complexities of human relationships with greater skill and compassion. Wisdom also involves knowing ourselves, understanding our own triggers, our own limitations, and our own needs. When we are aware of our own vulnerabilities, we are better able to navigate difficult situations without being overwhelmed. Wisdom allows us to recognize when we need to take a step back, when we need to ask for support, and when we need to practice self-care. It helps us to respond to toxic behavior in a way that is both compassionate and self-protective. Knowing when to walk away with compassion. Sometimes, the most compassionate thing we can do, for both ourselves and the other person, is to walk away. Have you ever felt torn between helping someone and preserving your own peace? Buddhism teaches that compassion does not mean allowing ourselves to be harmed. Walking away doesn't mean abandoning compassion. It means recognizing that staying may do more harm than good. Walking away with compassion means we wish them well, even if we cannot stay in their presence. It's an act of love towards ourselves, knowing that we deserve peace and healing. We can remove ourselves from harm's way without hatred, and in doing so, we protect our own well-being and allow space for growth. Walking away can be one of the hardest decisions we make. It requires us to let go of the idea that we can fix or save someone. It requires us to acknowledge our own limitations and to prioritize our own well-being. But walking away does not mean that we stop caring. We can still hold that person in our hearts, wishing them healing and happiness, even as we create distance. In some cases, walking away is an act of profound compassion. It allows both ourselves and the other person the space to heal, to grow, and to learn. It breaks the cycle of harm and creates the possibility for new beginnings. By walking away with compassion, we are choosing to honor our own needs while still holding love and goodwill for the other person. Walking away also teaches us about the importance of self-respect. It is a way of affirming that we deserve to be treated with kindness and dignity. When we walk away from toxic behavior, we are setting a powerful example, for ourselves and for others, of what it means to value our own well-being. We are showing that compassion includes ourselves, and that our own peace is worth protecting. Conclusion: never give toxicity what it wants. Dealing with toxic people from a Buddhist perspective is not about changing them, it's about transforming ourselves. Imagine facing negativity and emerging with greater compassion, wisdom, and peace. By understanding the nature of suffering, practicing mindfulness, letting go, establishing boundaries, and cultivating loving kindness, we can navigate even the most challenging relationships without losing ourselves. We can become like a lotus flower, blooming beautifully above muddy waters, untouched by the toxicity around us. Buddhism offers practical tools to transform our relationship with toxicity, whether it comes from others or within ourselves. What if every encounter, no matter how painful, was an opportunity for growth. Let us remember that the goal is not to change the toxic person but to change how we relate to them, freeing ourselves from suffering and embracing a life of peace, compassion, and true freedom. Can you imagine a life where no negativity can touch your inner calm? This is the path Buddhism shows us, a path towards a resilient heart that is full of love and light, even amidst the darkness. As we continue on this journey, let us remember that the work of transformation is ongoing. There will be days when we struggle, when the negativity of others feels overwhelming, and when our own hearts feel heavy. But each time we choose compassion, each time we choose to let go, each time we choose to protect our peace, we are taking a step towards greater freedom. We are cultivating a heart that is resilient, a heart that can hold both joy and sorrow with grace. May we all find the strength to face toxicity with compassion, the wisdom to know when to let go, and the courage to protect our peace. May we be like the lotus, rising above the mud, blooming in beauty and purity. This is the promise of the Buddhist path, not a life free from challenges, but a life in which we learn to transform those challenges into opportunities for growth, compassion, and love. May we also remember that this journey is not one we take alone. We are all connected, and our actions ripple out into the world, touching the lives of others in ways we may never fully understand. When we choose compassion, we are contributing to a world that is more loving, more peaceful, and more just. Each time we let go of anger, each time we extend kindness, each time we protect our peace, we are making a difference, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of those around us. Let us walk this path together, supporting one another, encouraging one another, and reminding one another of the power of love and compassion. Let us be the light that shines in the darkness, the calm amidst the storm, and the love that heals even the deepest wounds. This is the path of the Buddha, a path of transformation, a path of freedom, a path of boundless love. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from suffering. And may we all find the strength to face the challenges of life with a heart full of compassion, a mind full of wisdom, and a spirit that is unbreakable. This is our journey, and together, we can create a world that is more beautiful, more loving, and more at peace.